Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game. And today starts off our month of Marvel. See what I did there, Jim? See what I did? And we're starting it off with the Incredible Hulk for the Super NES and Sega Genesis.
You asshole.
Stop clashing!
Oh, Brian, I gotta get my start for the day.
Give Bruce Banner the respect he deserves.
Developed by Probe Entertainment and published by US Gold, this was released in 1994 and came out on the Super NES, the Genesis, the Master System, and the Game Gear. Oh, this is one of those infamously bad games. Not too much to say, let's just get right into it.
While you will hear a lot of negativity about this game from me and Jim, well, the graphics are one area where we gotta admit, it looks pretty decent. The sprites and the animations are actually really good, especially on the Hulk. I mean, look at him going up and down these ladders. Look at those delts, Jim.
Don't you even dare.
You're not even looking at the tries.
No.
The lats.
No.
You don't even care about muscle definition, Jim.
Look, Brian, I'm too distracted by these glorious parallax scrolling clouds, alright?
While the enemies themselves, they're fairly generic and even Abomination kind of...
Fairly generic?
Alright, they kind of look like Stormtroopers' cousins.
That's better.
Like Jim mentioned, the parallax scrolling in a lot of the levels, it's fairly impressive. We're not saying this blew us away, but hey, it looks good enough. And considering the quality of the rest of the game, this is one of the only good things about this one. As you see from our scores, I gave it a 7, Jim gave it a 6. While there may not be a ton of diversity and variety, what is there, and especially for some of these animations, it's pretty well done. So as far as beer, I'll get us started off right with 2. One for those delts, and one for those lats.
If there is one thing I hated more than Brian right now, it would probably be the music in this game. Because what the fuck were they going for? Listen to this. Listen to this. Why is there like a funk soundtrack to an Incredible Hulk game? It sounds like something that should be in like a bad third-party Skate or Die clone. Not the Hulk. What the hell is this bullcrap? There's some sound effects in the game, but there's not enough and they're not varied. What you get sounds, even on the Super NES, it sounds overly reverby, where the Genesis will sound overly tinny and scratchy. Basically, all the major complaints of the systems they came out on, the music and sound effects exemplify in this game. So for being just such a shit package, we both gave it 3s. And as far as beer goes, I'll give it 2 beers for 2 god-awful stupid soundtracks, which are basically the same, but, you know, different systems, different hardware, same terrible composition.
And rolling right along with this shit pile, we gotta talk about the control. Now, watching some of this footage, you're like, man, whoever's playing really doesn't know what he's doing. And Jim and I played this game completely independently of each other. We didn't tell each other secrets or how to play or anything, and we both made the same mistakes over and over. Just the basic controls past punching and jumping, there's configurations that aren't as obvious as you'd think, like jumping on top of these phone booths or trying to grab things. It's not quite obvious. Now, it would help if we had a manual, but for a shit game like this, we were not willing to buy, so we just emulated. We recognized that looking up the controls beforehand probably would have been helpful, but I can think of at least a couple hundred games that Jim and I have played and emulated, and you didn't need the controls because they're pretty obvious. And for a beat-em-up where you're the Hulk, we didn't think it would be that goddamn complex. Guess we were wrong. If you are one of the unlucky sons of bitches who owns this game, then you'll know there are a lot of moves. There's Thunderclap, when you grab people, you can give them bear hugs, you can do stomps. The inputs are just goofy. As you see when the Hulk moves, he's very stiff. The jumps are what you would expect from the Hulk, goddamn high as hell, but for some reason Bruce Banner can do it just as high. There's a lot of issues we have with this game. It just had an overall general stiffness, and it annoyed the dick off of us. And don't even get us started about some of the enemies you couldn't hit unless you did the uppercut or some of those special moves, which once again we didn't know how to goddamn do. So we both gave it a 3. After you learn all the controls, it might have been able to be bumped up to a 4 or a 5, but the overall stiffness and just the problems we had, no. We're leaving our scores as is. As far as beer, I'm giving 2. 1 for the Hulk and 1 for good old Bruce.
Oh, the gameplay. I guess if I had to say long story short, it would be this is one of the most generic side-scrolling beat-em-ups I've ever seen. The game has an okay mechanic where if you get enough power-ups for Hulk, he basically goes into Supernova Hulk mode or whatever. So then you can do some more of his like thunderclaps or more special maneuvers, but it kind of goes away, and if you get hit, it goes away faster. If you lose enough health, you turn back into Bruce Banner, and you're basically fucked at this point. But there's also a mechanic where you can purposely turn back into Bruce Banner, which, to say, gives a little bit of variation to the levels because there's certain parts that can only be accessed by Bruce Banner. There's certain traps that will only hurt the Hulk and not Bruce. So it's not the... It actually makes for some interesting strategy to get through the later parts of the game. Not saying it makes it good because the game's bullshit. I'm just saying it's a little better than what a game this generic really you would have expected from it, I should say. Also, Bruce Banner can shoot a gun, so he isn't a total pussy, but the ammo for it is so limited. Every level plays out the same, side-scrolling beat-em-up with some just god-awful platforming. Every halfway point of the level you fight Abomination for some reason, and then every level has a different boss fight, and you get treated to some comic strips to explain the story in between levels. Which is a nice touch. The boss fights are cheap as hell, the enemies take way too many hits in general, Hulk's too much of a bitch, the game's annoying as shit, I hate this goddamn piece of crap, and I missed a lot of the secrets the first time through. Yes, there are secrets you can find, but God forbid if the game makes it easy to find out, you just have to walk in every wall to discover them. So, with all that being said, we gave the game 3s. And as far as beer goes... Oh, one more thing. No, fuck this. I want to give it 3 beers because, here's a spoiler, this is the worst final boss fight I've ever seen. Here's what you do. Boom! Uppercut. Game over. Fuck you.
So as far as originality, I probably gave this game more points than it deserved, but I look at this as the first true Hulk video game. Sure, there was this obscure game called Quest Probe, which was a trilogy of Marvel games, and the Hulk was in there. It was on systems like whatever the Dragon 3264 was, the Amstrad CBC, and the ZX Spectrum.
ZX. Ow, it's what it's called!
Anyway,
American Pig. Ow!
Go back to Russia.
Damn it!
So putting that aside, since this is the first true Hulk game in our eyes, we also mentioned the ability to shift between Bruce Banner, the Hulk. That's interesting enough.
Why, don't you mean David Banner?
He's subpar compared to Bruce, and you know it.
But the TV show's better than this game.
Can't argue that. Anyway, hey, it offered that new ability, and not many games have that. But really, we just gave it all of its points because it's a Hulk game. Everything else about it is so basic for a platformer, for a beat 'em up, for the power-up systems. So we both gave it a 5. Once again, we're fully aware this seems higher than usual, but we feel it's fair overall. So as far as beer, I'm gonna add 2. 1 for Jim being a dirty Russian.
Well, fuck you, comrade.
And 2 for Bruce Banner being better than David.
No! Alright, replayability, I can keep it quick. There's one story, there's one game mode to play through. The game's just hard as dick. Now, if you want to play through it more than once, that's on you. There you can get all the secrets to make your playthrough a little easier. And yes, it's one of those games where if you beat it on easy, which is still fucking hard, it tells you, haha, this is the shit ending. You have to play through it again, and then you have to play through it on medium or hard to get the best ending. So, whoopee. Bri gave it a 4 and I gave it a 3. As far as beer goes, I'll give it 2 beers for the 2 endings.
So overall, I think we made our point pretty clear. This is not a good game. Not to say that there's not some speedrunners out there who might think of this as an interesting challenge, because it certainly would be, but as just a basic beat 'em up and as what you would expect from a Hulk game, it just fails on so many levels. The only redeeming quality this game really has is the graphics. But as we said many times, graphics don't make a game good. So, as you see from our scores, we both gave it a 3. It's really disappointing the Hulk game started off this way, and when we combined all of our scores together, it comes out to a 3.5. I can't stress it enough, unless you're the #1 Hulk fan, or you're going for some kind of Marvel video game collection, don't waste your money on this game. Emulate it first and decide if you really want to put out any green bucks for it.
Really? Green bucks? Really?
I got Hulk on the mind, what can I say? Jim, look at those delts.
Oh!
When it comes to beer pairing, I'm going to have to go with the Yuengling Bock beer. This is not the best Yuengling beer out there, but this is something that offers a lot of flavor for a decent price. And let's face it, for a game like this I'm already advising you don't play, I don't want you to waste your best stuff on it. So this is a suitable candidate to drink with this game because at the least it's going to help you get through such a shitty game. But make sure you get at least a case, because you're going to need a lot of beers to put up with this bullshit. But remember to drink your beers and play your games responsibly. As always, guys, thanks for checking out this video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you give us a thumbs up, leave some comments, or better yet, why not subscribe? Till next time, guys, cheers.